Hello students. Let me begin this session with a question. Have you ever seen a beggar clad in torn clothes with a miserable look asking for alms on the streets? Yes, we all surely have. In such a case, we usually pass them a coin or so and move ahead. But here, in this humorous short story titled The Beggar, we read how Mr. Sergey tries to pay a beggar out of his actual hard work. This story is written by Russian author Anton Chekov. Let's get to know the author well before we start our lesson. Anton Chekov is considered to be a literary genius and a master of the short story genre. He was a leading playwright of his age. He also practiced as a medical doctor throughout his literary career. Let us now begin with the story. One day, an advocate, Mr. Sergey, came across a beggar in a ragged fawn-colored overcoat with dull, drunken eyes. He confided that he had been a village school teacher and had fallen victim to rumors and maligning. Mr. Sergey suddenly recognized the man as the same man he had met a few days back in Sadovia Street. He remembered him saying that he had been a student who had been expelled. The advocate got terribly angry and threatened to call for the police. The imposter, Lushkoff, now caught red-handed, laid his hand on his heart and confessed that he had actually been a Russian choir singer. He had lost his job because of his drunkenness. The only way available to him was lying and begging, as no one in their right minds would consider helping a drunkard. Mr. Sergey, countering the logic of the beggar, asked him to chop woods for him. The beggar, now trapped by his own words, undertook the job. The beggar was sent off with the cook, Olga. He had a very hard time chopping the woods with an axe. Olga apparently supervised him with an angry and merciless attitude. Mr. Sergey watched the entire episode from his dining room window. He felt somewhat sorry for the poor beggar. All the wood was chopped in an hour. Mr. Sergey paid the beggar half a ruble and asked him to come every first day of the month for chopping woods. The man, who no longer was a beggar, came back on the first day of the next month. He earned half a ruble each time, and some work was always found for him. He shoveled the snow, put the woodshed in order, beat the dust out of the rugs. He also helped with the packing and hauling of the furniture when Mr. Sergey shifted to a new house. After all this time, Mr. Sergey was extremely happy with the fact that he had steered a man into the right path and found Lushkoff, once a beggar, a decent job. After 2 long years, Mr. Sergey was utterly delighted to meet Lushkoff at a ticket window of a local theatre. He was now employed as a notary, earning 35 rubles a month. Sergey took immense pleasure at the thought that he was primarily responsible for Lushkoff's success. Lushkoff credited all his success to a very satisfied Mr. Sergey, but much more so to Olga, Sergey's cook. To Mr. Sergey's great surprise and disappointment, Lushkoff revealed that it was Olga who used to cry and curse him. Then, at the end of the day, she would do all his work as the old weak man hardly could bear to work. All the while, Olga would continue cursing him. This had made it look like she was always railing and criticizing him. Sergey never dreamt that she was actually doing all Lushkoff's work for him. We can easily imagine Sergey's shock on realizing that it was actually Olga's actions that had compelled the change in Lushkoff. It was actually Olga's words and actions that had left him in a state of self-realization and a newfound perspective on life. With that, we come to the end of the story. See you next in our recap videos.